Hey, it's Juan, and welcome to the February issue of your Deloitte VMA SITREP. And hopefully, you've had a chance to digest this issue, including some, I think, will be some really helpful information on our new hub structure for the VMA community of interest and who your points of contact are in your respective geography. I'm joined this month by a really special guest. I've been looking forward to this. Tim Fallon is a senior consultant. He's been aboard the firm about 7 months ago, and he's aligned with the Princeton, New Jersey office. He's in advisory. And Tim's had a really interesting life journey. Tim, you're a Marine, always will be, I guess.
They told me.
And appreciate you joining us. And people are going to enjoy and appreciate hearing your story, and I think get educated as well. So let's walk through it. What took you to the Corps? I think you had a big brother who served.
I did, yeah, and he's actually still serving. He's a major these days in the Marine Corps. But yeah, so my brother was in, I had an uncle that was in, and my grandfather was in back in the day. So strong family attachment to the Marine Corps and the military generally. And I was reaching the end of college, and I just, I felt like I should serve, and that I frankly didn't want to be behind a desk. So I went down to the Philadelphia Officer Selection Office, and they were all too happy to receive me back in those days. And yeah, I joined up and went to OCS shortly thereafter.
It's the height of the war, as you alluded to, and not only did you follow your brother to the Corps, but you also followed him into his MOS, infantry.
Correct, yeah. So I very much wanted to do infantry, and I wanted to do the hard work.
And that's the right term. We talked a little bit about this offline. I had a chance to see that training up close, and I found it to be that IOC course, to include BUDS, to include SEER School. I thought it's the most challenging military training I'd seen.
Yeah, infantry officers course was something else. I'm glad I don't have to do that again.
But you get through it, and you deploy.
Yeah, and it was enjoyable in its own dark way.
I think we all at some level have that experience that is challenging and dark as
Right.
those training days would be. Sometimes in retrospect, they're the deepest gut belly laughs you've ever had. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Some things we laughed at in there, you had to be there to laugh. It was one of those situations.
We were joking offline about you did a tried and true Marine tradition. You got married right before deployment.
Yeah, I was deploying in 2010, and just before I deployed, I proposed to my wife and my then fiance, and then shortly thereafter hopped on a plane.
Special people who roger up to be a Marine spouse or a service spouse. That same deployment, you go to Marja. It's like you said, 2010. It's one of the most kinetic phases of the war. You're in it every day, and at some point in 2010, you get hurt. Educate us, and walk us through that if you would, Tim.
Yeah, sure. Like you said, it was in Marja, it was on the northwest side of Marja, and it was a rough bit of terrain, in terms of the situation. There was quite a few enemy forces in the area, and they did a pretty good job. And we fought every day, for a significant portion of the day. And I was what actually happened to me, though. I was out on night patrol, and we were looking at an IED laying site that we had been tipped off about. And myself and my buddy, it was an Afghan lieutenant, so we were the same rank, but different militaries, different backgrounds, obviously. His name was Ahmadadeen, and he and I had posted up some security, and we were trying to find an IED that had been laid out, and he actually accidentally set it off after we had found it. And I was standing next to him, and both of us got enveloped in it. And so then I took the helo ride to Camp Leatherneck, and had some Brits work on me. It was a very international day. And that was obviously pushed back further up the medical chain and eventually ended up in the States.
You shared with me, it's such a, I think people will be interested in this process. You shared with me that, what they call that golden hour, Leatherneck, Landstuhl in Germany, and to DC with essentially no memory of it. It's just, especially at that point in the war, they just put that process on rails. And I think you'd agree, doing so saved a lot of lives.
It saved countless lives. I thankfully was not in a situation where I would have died, but my eyes were severely damaged. And as soon as they saw that, they knew they didn't have the equipment or expertise surgically in theater to deal with it. So they put me in a medical coma and had me from the battlefield to an OR room in Walter Reed with top-notch ocular surgeons, with especially in trauma, which is relatively rare, within 72 hours. That's just incredible. That's just incredible. I'm blind today, but they were able to save my right eye and were able to do some work on it. So I would have been a lot blinder. That's for dang sure. And we had many casualties in our company, and so many of them are in better shape today or even alive today because of that golden hour, like you say. Just the ability to get to medical attention and the correct medical attention in the right amount of time was just stunning.
Tim, I think you told me that your allied same rank counterpart did not make it.
No, he did not make it. He lost a couple of limbs in the blast and bled out before the helicopter arrived. Yes.
Tim, share with us, educate us about the recovery and rehab experience at Walter Reed. And when you say Walter Reed, you're talking about old school Army Walter Reed, not the new Bethesda.
Yes. Yeah, I was one of the last tranche of patients at Walter Reed. Actually, they were in the process of closing it while I was there, and moving everything over to Bethesda for it to become a joint medical center. But I was actually at the old Walter Reed, and I was there even though I was a Marine. I was there because the ocular physicians over there were better. And so they just had a better situation set up there for ocular trauma. But it was one thing that I found remarkable about rehabilitation there in the military health service there more generally was that it was definitely service neutral, right? So it was no problem and very easy to send a Marine over to Walter Reed and have him cared for by Army folks and then sent back over to Bethesda. And I'm sure that behind the scenes there's some service tension, but as a patient receiving that aid, there was none, and it was top quality. It was amazing. I owe them a lot. My family owes them a lot.
That's great to hear. All told, how long did you spend in that rehab process back and forth between Walter Reed and Bethesda?
So I was there for a few months, about 4 or 5 months actually at the hospitals in DC. And then I was transferred to a Veterans Affairs facility out in Chicago. And the reason I went out there was Veterans Affairs department has some of the best blind rehab in the world. And it's broadly considered that. And the reason they do is because there's a lot of older folks who go blind, a lot of older veterans who go blind, and they can go to the VA for help. And that some of that's medical, but most of it's more along the lines of occupational rehab, learning to use screen readers so they can use computers and magnifying stuff and how to safely move around with a cane and all that sort of things. And their training, like I said, is some of the best in the world. So the Department of Defense moved me over there. So it was also not just joint service, but it was multi-department. And I spent a few months out there, and then reported back to DC. and I was at that point, I was in fine shape physically, health wise. I wasn't, so I started to do internships and things of that nature to move on to my next part of my career.
Well, Tim, do you remember, was that facility in Chicago, was that the Lovell VA hospital up on the northwest side of Chicago?
No, it wasn't in Chicago proper. It was in Hines, Illinois, and oh man, well, I think it's on the east side of Chicago, but I'm probably wrong about that.
No big deal, no big deal. But you alluded to your transition. So now you start these series of internships that ultimately results in you finding a way to continue to serve out of uniform, and actually takes you back overseas to the UK, to the big DIA Intel Center out there.
Yeah, it was quite a journey. It was something else. Like I said, I started an internship at Office of the Director of National Intelligence at Liberty Crossing down in Virginia, and I got put in. It was a formal interview process to start the internship, but then a Marine captain who was also at ODNI got caught wind of me being there, and he pulled me off of this other team, this other project, and pulled me into his office. So I was able to work at a pretty high level, working for one of the NIMS, the National Intelligence Managers. And it was really incredible work. And then I was able to transfer that skill and those resume builders into a job over at Defense Intelligence Agency. I was there for 5 years in DC doing econ and financial analysis. And then I moved over to the United Kingdom, like you said, to support US AFRICOM, US Africa Command, their J2 element, their intelligence element, which is stationed in England. And that was, personally, it was a lot of fun, to spend some time in England with my family. We really got to see England, some of Europe, and that was a lot of fun. It was also really a great mission and a great group of people.
So that's an example of the Marine Mafia working like it's supposed to work, right?
That's right. That's right.
Well, that's awesome. And that you stay in that field until coming to Deloitte about 7 months ago.
Yeah. It was my time in AFRICOM was coming to an end, and so I decided to, because we were going to leave in England anyway, I decided to, that was time for a change in the career, trying to move on and do something different. I was Deloitte was one of the options I was looking at, but what really sold me on it were the people who interviewed me. And they really sold me on coming over to Deloitte, and I've been very happy ever since.
You shared with me, like a lot of recent hires during the lockdown, you're aligned to the Princeton office. You hired 7 months ago. You've stepped foot in the office twice.
Twice.
Hopefully that's changing soon, right?
Yes, I think we're obviously we're headed toward the hybrid model, and it'll be good to be able to see colleagues more often. But at the same time, I don't mind working from home. That's been nice too. But it would be nice to see some more Deloitte buildings from every now and again.
I bet. Tim, it's a great story. I think you could be almost too close to it. You, especially when you were recovering, I'm sure got really close with a bunch of similarly situated soldiers and Marines. But for the rest of the world, it's a really inspiring tale of overcoming the unthinkable and the power of a great spouse, and just being determined to continue to have an impact and serve.
Yeah, my perspective has always been these things happened, and this one happened to me, and that's okay. And you just gotta move on in life. You have no choice to do so. But the reason I've made it is I've had a lot of help, especially from my wife, and from colleagues, and just happy to keep moving, and always looking to learn and experience more.
Tim, I really appreciate you sharing your journey with us. I'm glad you're synced up in the Deloitte Marine Network and the VMA network, and I hope listeners and viewers got to maybe learn a few things about how this process works, and get to. And I'm looking forward to meeting you in person soon.
Yeah, that'd be great. Good to go.
Devil Dog, really appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Juan.
You got it. Hey, that was great, man.
Yeah. All right. Hope it was what you were looking for.
No, perfect. This will really be educational for a lot of folks. Now I'll just figure out how to turn record off.